Have you ever stopped to reflect on the true meaning of Christmas? Most of us, at some point, have thought that Christmas boils down to gifts, parties, and a temporary feeling of happiness. But what if I told you that in reality, Christmas is much more than that? It is, at its core, the fulfillment of a promise from God that goes beyond any fleeting celebration. Christmas is the clear declaration that God is with us, even in the most challenging situations in life. You might be wondering, but how does this apply to me in my reality with so many problems and challenges? I completely understand. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Christmas is not just a date on the calendar. It's an invitation to experience hope in its purest form, a faith that transcends any circumstance, and a peace that only God can offer. Now, imagine how your life could be transformed if you truly lived this truth every day. What would happen if, instead of letting difficulties consume you, you connected with this divine presence and found in every moment a reason to be grateful, inspired, and motivated? Let's explore that now, and you will see how the hope of Christmas can change your perspective on life forever. Christmas is not just a celebratory date, but the fulfillment of an eternal promise. The presence of God, announced centuries ago, was materialized in a simple but profound way in that humble birth in Bethlehem. With each celebration, we are reminded that, regardless of the circumstances, God is never distant from us. In times of difficulties and challenges, this promise of His presence gives us the faith we need to continue. It is through this presence that we find inspiration to overcome, because it assures us that we are not alone, even in the darkest hours. In this time of reflection, it is essential to understand that Christmas goes beyond presents and parties. It's about a deep encounter with Jesus Christ, where the motivation to start over comes from the understanding that God has always been by our side. Every lit candle, every sung hymn, reminds us of God's closeness, inviting us to open our hearts to His peace. In a world of uncertainty, the certainty that He is present helps us face life with more courage and confidence. And even amidst adversity, Christmas calls us to reflect on the true meaning of faith. Jesus Christ, in all His humility, teaches us that strength is not in appearances or external accomplishments, but in the willingness of the heart to live in tune with God's will. Every gesture of gratitude, no matter how small, reflects the recognition of this constant presence, which transforms our view of the world and inspires us to seek peace, not in perfect circumstances, but in the certainty that God walks with us. Pain, no matter how challenging, always opens a space for reflection. When we face moments of suffering, the temptation is to close our hearts and give in to despair. However, true hope arises precisely in these difficult moments, when we understand that even in the shadows, divine light does not fade. Faith invites us to look beyond the immediacy of pain and see that it can be a gateway to transformation. In vulnerability, we find our strength, a strength that does not come from ourselves, but from the trust that God walks with us every step of the way. When experiencing pain, the motivation to move forward may seem distant. However, personal reflection brings clarity to the heart, allowing us to realize that pain is not an end, but a means to reach something greater. As we surrender to faith, we make space for profound gratitude, not for the suffering itself, but for the assurance that it is not in vain. Many times, it is in pain that we discover the greatest lessons of life and connect with our essence. Pain does not define who we are, but reveals what we can become when we trust in something greater than ourselves. The process of facing pain with hope is not linear, and the journey is challenging. However, it is in this space of struggle that we are shaped, reminding us that hope is not a promise of an absence of difficulties, but the certainty that they can be overcome with faith. Christ's example in His passion teaches us that even in extreme pain, there is a greater purpose being fulfilled. He showed us that hope in pain not only transforms us, but prepares us for a life of renewed gratitude and motivation. The power of hope is capable of transforming any situation, no matter how desperate it may seem. When we cling to hope, our perspective shifts and we begin to see difficulties as opportunities for growth. Faith becomes the foundation upon which we build our resilience, allowing us to look to the future with confidence. Hope is not just a feeling, but an active force that drives us to seek solutions, to act, and to never give up. It is through it that we find the motivation to make necessary changes in our lives, even when the path seems uncertain. Looking at stories of great transformations, we see that true change comes when hope is lived, not just expected. For example, people who have overcome serious illnesses or complicated financial situations often report that the turning point was the moment they decided to cling to hope. Instead of sinking into despair, they chose to believe that something better was coming. This process of transformation is a direct reflection of God's action in our lives when we allow ourselves to be instruments of His will and trust that He is working in our favor. The transformation brought by hope goes beyond the exterior. It touches the heart and mind. Each small victory, each step of faith taken, is a form of spiritual renewal. By reflecting on how God can use our struggles to shape us, we realize that hope is, in fact, a continuous process of evolution. As we become more resilient, more confident, our gratitude for the presence of Jesus Christ in our lives grows, and the virtuous circle of motivation and transformation perpetuates. And it is this transformation that prepares us to live hope practically in our daily lives. Living hope in daily life is not something that happens automatically. It is a daily choice that requires practice and dedication. The first step is to cultivate faith in small moments. When we wake up, we can start the day with a simple prayer or by affirming our gratitude. Throughout the day, whenever a challenge arises, we can choose to face it with confidence, remembering that we are not alone. Living hope, at its core, is maintaining a positive attitude even in the face of difficulties, knowing that every step taken is an opportunity for growth. For example, when dealing with a problem at work or in personal life, we can choose not to focus on what we cannot control, but on what is within our reach. Perhaps this means seeking new solutions, talking with someone we trust, or simply taking some time to reflect and recharge. This is not just a mental strategy, but a practical action that shows how hope applies to everyday situations. When we have the faith that something better lies ahead, our motivation to act and solve problems increases, transforming the scenario around us. Additionally, living hope in daily life also means sharing this attitude with others. The way we react to challenges can be a source of inspiration to those around us. A simple smile or a word of encouragement can have a profound impact on someone else's life. This creates a chain of positivity where hope spreads and strengthens. When we practice this sincerely, we not only improve our own lives, but also contribute to a more motivating and faith-filled environment. The peace that surpasses all understanding is not a peace that comes from external circumstances, but an inner peace, deeply rooted in faith. When the storms of life seem to take away our balance, this peace is like a rock that keeps us steady, no matter what happens around us. This peace is not based on having all the answers or solving all the problems, but on the trust that even in the chaos, God is in control. It transcends any logical explanation and allows us to live with serenity, knowing that in the end, everything will work out for good. What truly makes this peace possible is the ability to surrender our burdens to God, fully trusting in His sovereignty. In times of crisis, we may find it difficult to understand how to maintain peace. However, the key lies in not allowing the worries of the world to steal our tranquility. Faith teaches us that when we surrender our problems to God, He gives us a peace that does not depend on immediate results, but on the trust in His greater plan for us. This is the true power of the peace that surpasses all understanding. As you experience this peace in your life, a transformation begins to occur. Gratitude for everything God does for us intensifies, and the motivation to live with more purpose and hope becomes a constant force. The peace of Jesus Christ spreads to all aspects of our life, influencing our attitude, our actions, and even the way we treat others. It makes us more compassionate, more understanding, and more willing to spread goodness. This peace, in the end, is one of the greatest blessings we can live, and it prepares us to face any adversity with a calm and faithful heart. Now that you've reflected on the true hope that Christmas offers, the question is, how will you apply this in your life? The hope that comes from understanding that God is with us is not something abstract, but a transformative force that can impact your attitudes, your choices, and your worldview. What can you start doing today to live more connected to this truth? How can you, in fact, allow the faith and motivation that come from divine presence to guide your actions in everyday life? I want to challenge you to take the first step now. Don't wait for the circumstances to improve or for life to get easier. True change begins when we intentionally decide to focus on the gratitude and hope we have in Christ. Imagine the impact of this on your work, your relationships, even in how you deal with challenges. Do you want to be a more motivated and peaceful person? The key is to apply these principles every day in everything you do. Oh, and if you want to dive deeper into this theme, I recommend reading the ebook Christmas, A Meeting with Divine Peace and Hope, available in the pinned comment. Don't miss the chance to explore this transformative message further, and if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to activate notifications so you won't miss any content that can make a difference in your life. Let's walk together on this journey of faith, inspiration, and hope. How about starting now?